Okay, I'm very much trying to turn off my brain and just watch TV, but I was also just like shaming myself for feeling lonely and wondering like why things feel so dire sometimes. When I am having an emotion that's having trouble moving, when I am having anxiety or depression, or even like this, like feelings of loneliness, it really triggers something in me. And as I tried to let myself sort of travel with that question, why does being alone feel triggering? Like, why don't I know how to be with myself anymore? And it's very easy to think that that has something to do with my romantic relationship now. But what it really has to do with is this like deep inner child wound, which is probably why it's pretty intense right now in my journey. When I was a kid, my relationship with my primary caregiver was very enmeshed, was very like up in my face or like distant. And when it was distant, it was either because like something else was more important, like the job, the phone call, the obligation, or it was like a fight and then like a ice out period and a wait and see. Like there was just always this feeling that like I was gonna do the wrong thing and shit was gonna get weird. And so this teaches kids not to trust themselves. And so in my people pleasing development, I learned not to trust myself fully because like I made mistakes or did things that had consequences. And so I aimed to, read the situation, adapt, and perform so that I would feel safe. And so, like I talked about earlier, like that mantra of I am safe has really been showing up for me. And today in class, I talked about, learning how to take up space when maybe we've been in relationships of some form with people who sort of seem to suck up all the space. If you're in a relationship with someone who gets big by making other people small, you adapt to being small, to living within the confines. And as we learn to take up space again in a healthy and authentic way, it can be very scary and very unfamiliar. And this all sort of feels like what I'm working through and how I'm going to let myself off from this guilt. Like, the guilt is that I feel like I wasted these few days by myself. I feel like I didn't, quote, achieve anything. Like, I washed Louis, I kept the home tidy, I made food for myself and taught yoga and filmed videos and rested and saw a friend. Like, I didn't do much productive wise. But why do I need to only reward myself for the doing? I did a lot of being, a lot of meditating, a lot of healing, a lot of this sort of expansive work, and that counts for something. But things feel really serious and really dire when my fight or flight mode is on, when my nervous system is activated. And when I start to feel bad about myself or I give into those like pangs of loneliness, I think the link with the loneliness and the safety is this like, it's this deep child wound. It's this deep rooted need to be seen and heard and understood and valued. And it's this lack of trust with myself because I didn't establish that as a young person. And I took notes from people who also didn't know how to trust themselves, and then was in relationships with people who didn't know how to trust themselves. And I've been taking authoritative cues from a bunch of people who have no idea what the hell they're doing, just like I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. So I'm going to start taking those authoritative cues from myself. And so I honor that this link sort of exists between my past deep-rooted feelings of performance and of loneliness and of abandonment and people pleasing and whatever else. Like, all of that can feel activated when I am not feeling vibrationally high and supported and connected. But I can dispel that by letting things move, by tracing my feelings back to when I originally have felt this way or what sort of behaviors trigger it. I can look at both my role in things and the impact of someone else's role. And that's like the point and the power of doing the work, of trying to heal. It's getting the answers. We don't have the whys for everything, but I have such a better understanding of something like this now. And now I feel like, okay, well, I can combat this loneliness. I can remind myself of my safety. If I can identify the issue, if I can identify where it came from, I can meet that piece of heartache with love and compassion and intention. I can locate the pain point and start to heal. And so, as always, I share arguably too much about my journey just to remind you that yours and its unique specificity is valuable. And even as I'm sharing this with you, I can feel the tension in my stomach starting to soften. Because this is what it's all about. This is what I mean when I say let it move. This is the swirl, the spiral, this is diving in. And if you're on this journey, may we remember to not make ourselves feel guilty for not doing enough. I might be spending a little bit too much time sitting or laying down this weekend, but the work I am doing is immeasurable, important, and impactful. As is your work. Now, always, in the future. Cheers.